Alright everyone, in the wake of Tommy Robinson getting wrongfully banned from Facebook and Instagram, I say wrongfully because so far nobody has actually offered evidence of him inciting violence against people, and that's what was said he was banned for. Until such evidence is given, I'm going to assume that it's bullshit. I see this all the time where people are pegged as like they're an extremist, they're a bigot, they're violent or something, they've caused some sort of problem, and then you look into it, you can't find any actual examples of that, and when pressed, they just say, well, they're just bigoted. Well, they're just hateful and violent and wrong. Like, we don't need evidence because it's just true. Because the BBC told me so. Because BuzzFeed told me so. And these groups really need to start being held to account for their words. There need to be more lawsuits for slander against them. I know in the UK it's hard because the BBC's like, I guess, immune to everything, it seems. But Mohammed Shafiq, who is a BBC contributor, in the wake of this was basically intoning, yeah, we're responsible for getting him kicked off and good riddance. By the way, we're going to have a meeting with Google, try to get him kicked off YouTube as well. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, how dumb a strategy that is, number one. Because all you've done is cause the very high likelihood that someone who has enormous numbers of actual followers, not followers in the sense of come follow me, I'm your leader, but followers in following his material. Potentially those people begin using alternative platforms that fall far beyond the purview of the BBC to actually attack. See, what censorship has done is it hasn't actually... Is there a single person who has been depersoned who has actually gone away and stopped making material? Like, they've been silenced. They're like, oh, well, shit, the gig is up. No, not a single person. They're all still making content. They all still have the same fan base, at least the engaged, active fan base they had before. If a bunch of people who casually viewed their material once in a blue moon are no longer following them, and there's a lot of people, trust me, in everyone's audience that falls into that category, then that doesn't really matter. It's like my active, engaged audience on YouTube's 50,000 or so people. It's small compared to the 350,000 that actually follow the material. But I have no doubt that if I was kicked off YouTube, all of a sudden 10 or 20,000 more people would be filtering out into the alt-tech sites that I use. This is, by the way... I know Robinson has, I'm pretty sure he has a Gab account, which with Dissenter now is great because now you can comment on the BBC hit pieces against him and not worry about BBC propagandizing and banning you and removing your comments and getting spammed by a bunch of morons. Or Hope Not Hate, which is the other group that was celebrating about this. I don't think that they'll be celebrating for long. I think for long. I think that the deplatform-loving censorship lovers are going to lose in the end. I honestly do. I think because we've seen this before and they've always lost in the past. Like back in the 90s this was attempted and it backfired. It backfired on moralism quite heavily. The MTV generations of weirdos basically won completely. Or before that, even like in the late 70s, early 80s with some of the pre-satanic panic moralism. It lost. The anti-hippie moralism. Every single time the lame establishment loses and it keeps using the same failed strategy. So just give it 5-10 years. Alt-tech will probably be on top by then. Then they too will start to corrupt and degrade and get elsewhere. But I don't know if Robinson has a Minds account. He should have one. Definitely. And Facebook and Instagram, I mean, Facebook is vestigial at this point. Like I've said, I haven't even logged in quite some time. I don't care about the platform. It's a shitty platform. It doesn't really help my brand any to manage Facebook. It just takes extra time out of my day and I'm not going to be entertained. Instagram is actually growing, but it's kind of useless for most branding purposes. Like, what the fuck is Tommy Robinson? Here's me enjoying this ale. Here's me eating crumpets. It's like, it's not going to be as overtly political. And they're both Zuckerberg assets, which is why they banned him almost simultaneously. Zuckerberg himself probably made the call after talking to people from the BBC. They're like, look, we got this dude on your platform. He's got a huge presence. He's got more fans than the fucking BBC does anyway. It's dangerous or it's wrong. He's evil and bigoted. And here's examples. And of course, Zuckerberg's standard of what bigotry is far different from a sane person's. They programmed that synth improperly, I think, and so they kick him off. As far as YouTube, I think he hasn't been banned, I think, as of now. I haven't checked this morning. He probably won't be. Google has actually been more reluctant to deplatform. It's like Gavin. He's still on YouTube. He got banned everywhere else. He's still on YouTube and the alt-tech sites. YouTube is actually so surprising. Remarkably, YouTube standing in the gap for some of these people, which is great because, you know, as primarily a video maker, it makes me feel a little bit more confident about my future. Now, I don't worry about getting to platform now. I worry about the paradigm shift, the Overton window shifting a little, and then getting banned 5 years from now. Yeah, that, you know, I'd rather avoid that. I'm not going to stop speaking out against censorship, and Tommy Robinson literally did nothing wrong. So here you've got a situation where a supposedly non-biased, taxpayer-funded media entity within the UK, which is the BBC, has contributors and fans gloating about the fact that they are causing U.S. firms, for-profit corporations, often multinational in form, like you know, they work with World Banks and stuff, to deplatform people and remove their livelihood. Because of reasons, but they can't even give you the reasons. They can't even, they're saying, well, in Panadrama he says X, Y, and Z. Look, I watched it. He doesn't incite violence or hatred in Panadrama. He simply doesn't. You got miffed because he had a crowd of thousands of people watching it, and hundreds of thousands of people are watching it on all of these different platforms, and he's got fans hand over fist. And then you see all the hit pieces. You saw literally like starting yesterday, like, oh, well, he wants your money, he wants you to donate at all costs, and they show like a picture of him with an expensive watch on. It's like, what do you think the fucking BBC gets? This dude, one person, again, with a few aides and helpers, is managing to outmaneuver the whole BBC. Yeah, I'm not going to begrudge him having a little bit of wealth, and you keep trying to remove all of his livelihood. The dude's got a family. It's not just him. You know, you've got to realize, when these people call for censorship, and by the way, censorship has never been benevolent. In the history of mankind, there has never been an instance, not a single instance in all of the history of humanity has there been one time that censorship was fomented by, promulgated for benevolent purposes. Not once. Every single moral panic is marked by corruption. And after the fact, 10, 15 years later, it always gets exposed, right? The satanic panic. Oh, think of the children. They're getting headhunted after by Wiccans and evil sorcerers and stuff. Satanists want to kill your children and indoctrinate us and destroy America. 10, 15 years later, oh yeah, really the problem the whole time was a bunch of fucking megachurch pastors and a bunch of hucksters, pushing their books off on people, and they were always non-sourced and bullshit. And the real victims were, ironically enough, those same Satanists and Wiccans usually. The Red Scare, most of the people, as some people say, well, McCarthy was right. Okay, maybe about some Hollywood insiders and politicians, but the average person that was labeled a commie was not a commie. If any, they were garden variety liberals, sometimes they weren't even that. You had people getting stalked and harassed by their own government that they were paying taxes towards. They were being treated as though they were scum of the earth. They got deplatformed. Sound familiar? They got robbed of the right to publish books. They got robbed of the right to speak out in an interview or anything else under the sun. They got robbed of their due constitutional rights. Look at the 90s. Heavy metal. Kurt Cobain, MTV, Howard Stern, all of these other things. Again, it's the same fucking shit over and over again. The same excuses are used. We need to protect the children. We need to protect polite society. We need to stamp out something that's cancerous within our society. And it always turns out that the cancer is the group doing the stomping. They're always the moral busybodies and corporate fascists and big banks and people like that. And the BBC. And Hope Not Hate, craptivistic groups that try to... They're the ones that want money. Oh, just donate to the SPLC, give us money so that we can stop the evil bigots. And then the people that they're actually going after are just the competitors of the lamestream media, not bigots. Not going after them. Not at all. And David Duke is free to say exactly whatever he wants. They're never going to do jack shit about him other than maybe have a picture of his Beach Boy looking face on their website. Meanwhile, yeah, Gavin, who never ran a hate group, he needs 10 hit pieces against him. Or Tommy Robinson, oh my god, he exposed the fact that there's corruption within the judicial system of the UK, and he exposed collusion between taxpayer-funded, state-run media organization and craptivistic groups that have ties to Antifa. Oh my god, we gotta freak out and kick him off. See, that's really what it's about. Oh yeah, Tommy Robinson did nothing wrong. Still waiting for that evidence of him calling for violence. I'm gonna wait for 1,000 years because I guarantee none of these groups are ever gonna be able to fucking show it. That's about all. Peace out.